one, I'm going to get out of this place more often. I'm going to go out and talk to the public. Number two, I'm also going to be out there seeking the advice of experts outside, from academia to editorial writers to think tanks. And the third thing, I'm going to be deeply involved in these off-year elections.
You just heard the president's 1, 2, 3 for what is to be in the second year of 2022. And joining us this morning, I'll call them the Black Brady Bunch, three of the best minds in politics, political commentators Ray Baker and Quentin Jiles, and BNC contributor Tezlyn Figaro. Let's unpack day 366 now, 1 year later. So, Quentin, I'll begin with you because we'll move outside the Beltway. What are they talking about in Houston? Are they talking about voting or COVID, Ukraine, January 6th? What say ye?
Oh, we are absolutely talking about voting down here in Texas and what the Biden administration needs to be doing to solidify voting rights in Texas. Being controlled by the Republican legislature, they are trying to make it more and more difficult for eligible voters to have access to the ballot box. And so one of the highest criticisms thus far, although President Biden and Kamala Harris, they have done a lot of things in this first year, right? But there is still so much more to be done, is absolutely voting rights and ensuring that Black, Brown, and Indigenous folks have the access that they need.
Tezlyn, I was fascinated this morning. Jim Clyburn from South Carolina, one of Biden's staunchest defenders, saying he did it right. He said that they had to tackle COVID first and then voting rights. But a lot of African Americans are saying you still waited too long. What do you think?
You know, I know you love old school songs. I was trying to take a pause to see how petty I wanted to be with this. I know you love old school songs. And last night I played Quiet Storm by Smokey Robinson. And it is ironic because not any of our Black leaders had any smoke, pun intended, for that ridiculous, pathetic speech that Joe Biden gave in his answers to Black America. Charlamagne the God asked, was Joe Manchin in charge? And everybody said, oh, I can't believe that Charlamagne had the audacity to ask VP Harris that question. Everybody said, oh, yes, Senator Harris, she gathered Charlamagne, and oh, he got gathered. Well, guess who got gathered last night? Guess who got gathered last night? Joe Biden got gathered literally at the same time that Joe Manchin was on the floor. It's three Joes on my mind. One, Joe Madison, who's starving to death, in bad need of a two-piece and a pepper, who's been starving, waiting on voting rights. Two, Joe Biden, who failed and gave the most pathetic reason for not delivering to Black folks by saying, oh, I need to look them in the eyes. And then Joe Manchin, who obviously has been bossing the entire Democrat Party and is indeed in charge. There's a song on Power. 50 Cent has a song on the show Power, and he says, I'm an undercover liar. I lie under the covers, whisper in her ear and tell her I love her. That reminds me of Joe Biden, who is allegedly the most powerful man in the world, when he said, oh, all I need to do is just go back out and talk to him one-on-one. No, Joe Biden, what you need to do is stay in D.C. and deliver on the promises and not decide to go out and sell more dreams to Black folks.
So let me put a check in the box beside Tezlyn right there, saying she does not think that the president did a good job. Ray, your thoughts from Baltimore?
Yeah, unlike what's happening down in Texas with Quentin, folks here are concerned about the things that are happening in their day-to-day lives, because the lived experience of so many Americans really doesn't revolve around some of the electoral decisions that are happening in the Capitol. The things that our people in our communities are talking about won't necessarily correspond. The activists, at least here in Baltimore, are talking about the consent decree hearing that's supposed to happen later today at 1 p.m. regarding our Baltimore police. And that's something else that has also failed on the federal level: meaningful criminal justice reform. Although there's important questions to ask whether or not the George Floyd Policing Act would have any teeth that would be valuable to people, considering the provisions in that act would not have kept George Floyd alive, nor would they have singularly punished Mr. Chauvin for what he did in killing George Floyd. Going back to the question or the issue of last night, so much that's at play here, invites us to look beyond the rhetoric of the particular people speaking and actually engage in what the meaning is. So often the Republican leaders that spoke and are advocating against changing filibuster rules or even the voting laws say they do not want to divide the United States. They want to see compromise. We must push back, not we Democrats, not we Americans. We who believe in justice must push back and ask the meaningful question. Why are we interested in compromising with a collection of people who do not see the humanity of their fellow person? If that is a compromise or institution you are seeking to preserve, I am not interested in working with you. Unfortunately, everyone from Joe Biden to Joe Manchin, and especially not, as Tezlyn mentioned, our brother Joe Madison, those other Joes seem very interested in not hurting the feelings of racists. We cannot be in the business of not hurting the feelings of racists if we are in the business of justice.
Amen.
So I watched the president's 2-hour news conference yesterday, and let me tell you what I thought about, because I'm always the voice of moderation. I thought about that scene from the movie Airplane, where Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a little boy, comes up to him and says, you know, my daddy says you ain't, because, you know, you can't do blump, blump, blump. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said, all right, you tell your daddy to carry Moses Malone around for 4 quarters and see how good of a basketball player he is. Quentin, the bottom line is this is an administration that came in with a deck not stacked against it. Somebody hid the playing cards, and they're still hiding the playing cards. I'm not an apologist for the Biden administration, but let's be realistic. How much did we really think he was going to get done in a country not just divided, but facing an insurrection and still facing an insurrection?
Yeah, I think realistically, we thought that the Biden administration was going to take the needs and the plight of Black folks seriously because of the resuscitation to the presidential campaign vis-a-vis South Carolina, and how much grit and how much authority he spoke with as he campaigned to later on become president. And so we've talked on this show before about his political power waning. One really thought, or a lot of us really thought, that he was going to use some of that political power in the beginning for voting rights, for policing, for Black and brown communities, but waited this long.
So what was he supposed to do? What was he supposed to do when people were dying from COVID? What was he supposed to do when we had criminal justice reform also dying in the Senate with people like Cory Booker and Tim Scott, both African Americans?
Yeah, he could have actually spoke up more and put his support behind it and shined a light more. He has the power of the bully pulpit. What he's doing now, he could have done before. And so COVID was a necessary evil to tackle, but everyone, for the most part, agreed that that needed to be dealt with. Everyone, for the most part, agreed that the economy needed to be dealt with and situated. So that didn't take a lot of political power to push, because we were all on some level on the same page. What he could have done was taken these same tenets of voting rights, of policing in our communities, ensuring that people have a livable wage, and talk about that and put a lot of focus towards that in the beginning of his presidency, when he was the most popular and when more people were listening to him at that time.
I'm sorry, Dale, can I
Tezlyn,
add?
could anyone have, wait a minute, okay, wait a minute, but let me put this in there, this footnote. Could anyone have predicted a year ago, 366 days ago, that there would be a governor of Texas and a governor of Florida and a governor in Georgia telling people, don't wear a mask, don't get shots, don't listen to what the CDC says, don't listen to the White House, because it made political hay right in the middle of a pandemic? Go ahead, Tezlyn.
Okay, I'm sorry. Respectfully, you know I love you, but I just can't skip past what I wanted to say a moment ago. When you said, how was he supposed to do this during COVID? Guess what he did when he ran for office? It was during COVID. It was during COVID when he made a promise to George Floyd's family. I was in the room when he was on the speakerphone. It was during COVID when he came out and made promises to Black folks. It was during COVID when Jim Clyburn said he knows us and we know Joe. It was during COVID when they made these promises and said that as long as you give us the House and the Senate, all will be well. The problem is that the lie shouldn't have never been set up. You shouldn't have never told these individuals with these self-imposed deadlines to continue to fail with the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. And just last week with saying, oh, we're going to bring the vote to the floor on MLK's birthday. This is absolutely their fault. So we cannot say, oh, it was COVID. Oh, if only I could go out. If only COVID kept me from going out. COVID didn't stop you from going out and telling those lies. At some point, we have to be honest about about this, and he still
But
has not
Tezlyn,
yet called out.
let me,
Wait 1
okay,
second.
wait a minute,
He
wait a
still
minute,
has
wait a
not
minute,
yet-
wait a minute.
He still has not yet called out Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. He still has not called them out singularly for obstructing his agenda.
Let me quote the former President Barack Obama. Don't get mad, vote. Because
No,
this is the way Washington works. Whether we like it or, wait a minute, whether we like it or not, he could have promised that he was going to put a man on the moon, and if he didn't have the votes, it wasn't going to work. That's the way Washington works. We can blame Biden all, wait a minute. We can blame Biden all we want.
Yeah, I'm gonna quote Biggie Smalls was saying, "I'm not gonna chase them. We're gonna replace them." Training starts April 9th. We're gonna get these folks out their seats. That's the bottom line. That's what it is. They're moving forward.